5 deals with self-appreciation and power. One may recognize that divinity resides within man rather than in a far-off personal God. He may have developed to a high degree his ability to think. He may meditate on the truth of being and be living in the present tense. But if they do not have a deep appreciation and high regard for themselves, they will not be able to realize their dreams. A great deal is said today regarding the inferiority complex. We need to not look far to find people struggling under this great handicap. This negative state of mind may result from one or more of a number of causes. To some extent, it is a race inheritance, an inability to accept and recognize the present state of the world's progress, but instead harking back to the lower levels of yesterday. As a race, we spend much time looking backwards. This feeling of superiority may be a family inheritance reaching through generations. Some families never seem to rise above the mediocre. When someone belongs to such a family, it is difficult to break from the vice-like hold of this false conception in order to make a place for themselves in the world. Many people are taught they have no great possibilities, that they have no talent, that they cannot do the things of importance others do. Their friends and relatives may even make it a point to discourage them in all their undertakings. Those who are thus taught develop a consciousness of inability and are willing to occupy a lowly position. In time, they come to think of themselves as failures, scarcely expecting anything better than their present lot. And yet, deep in the consciousness of such people is a desire to do larger and better things, to measure up to those who are succeeding and accomplishing the great achievements of life. The false teaching of the past has had much to do with the prevalence of this undesirable condition. For man has been taught the virtue of humility and that they must do penance for their sins. He has been encouraged to spend days and nights in remorse for real or fancied wrongdoing. Man has been taught that he is only human, being separate and apart from his Maker. This concept of separation from God has wreaked havoc in their lives. And that's what we're learning. We are all part of that creative force. The truth is that the individual is much more than human. He is divine. He is the offspring of God and partakes of God's nature. But up to the present time, only a few people have been able to comprehend this mighty truth and accept the glorious heritage. The majority of people plod along, accepting their self-imposed weakness as a matter of fact, believing they are unable to do the things they dream of doing, feeling that way about it, they fail to reach their logical goal in life. But thinking lowly or humble thoughts of yourself is not a virtue. So far as you are concerned, or so far as your part in the scheme of things is concerned, there is no one in the whole world so important as yourself. What you think, what you are, what you say, and what you do are of vital importance. First of all, to yourself, and then to the world. You are here for a specific purpose, to do a certain work, and that purpose and work is the development and unfoldment of your life. Your life is like a seed planted in the ground. Given the right conditions of growth, it unfolds and develops until we have a giant oak or a beautiful lily, as the case may be. And that's why I keep saying, know that when you begin your search for the Creator and understanding the universe, the Creator and the universe have already found you.
Well, and I'll tell you, nobody ever hears that enough. The stuff you were just saying about that you're unique, you're important. You know, you have a great purpose to do. I don't think any of us hear that enough.
Yeah, and what you do with that opportunity is up to you. You know, there is a saying philosophically, the universe does not compel, it impels. It does not force you, it gives you the desire to do on your own. It's sort of a benevolent dictatorship. The more you learn, the more you realize it is a benevolent dictatorship. You only live with the illusion that you're all powerful. It's the universe is just functioning through you.
And God is benevolent.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, there has to be order, or everything would be happening at once, and there would, there would be such a diversity of creation that it would be unfathomable. Continuing on, your life will not unfold exactly like some other life, and it should not. Do not expect it to. But wonderful possibilities are wrapped up within you. In fact, you have never dreamed, even in your most inspired moments, of great riches and the beauty of your life. You would if you would, but give yourself a chance. Get acquainted with yourself. Think well of yourself, and you will be surprised how well you and yourself get along. Which is why the philosophy, know thyself. When you have learned how to get on with yourself, you will be surprised how easy it seems to get along with others. For most of our trouble is with ourselves. Irritation and dissatisfaction felt within because of legitimate desires thwarted and a failure to measure up to one's ideals many times cause one to be at odds with the world. The lack of harmony within creates discord without. So the individual must be on good terms with themselves if they would be at peace with the world. That's why they say you want to have peace with the universe, you have to have peace with yourself first. Whatever your situation is. Your real self, the I am, which tries to direct your life and will, if you give it a chance, keeps calling you to higher things, to greater achievements, to a better place in life, to honor and power. But to such urges, you must have been saying, I can't. It is all right for others. They can do it. I'd like to, but I can't. That silences the inner voice for the time being. But after a while, the call comes again. Or it is another call along a different line. But it is always forward, always advance, never retreat. Yes, ma'am.
I have another question.
Good.
It's very similar to the other one. Let me see if I can get because I was following along even though I had the question, so I might have to find the question again.
Okay.
If you bear with me for just a second.
Sure.
Okay. It's this line in 10. Irritation and dissatisfaction felt within because of legitimate desires thwarted and a failure to measure up to one's ideals many times cause one to be at odds with the world. So, being self-aware and watching myself and trying not to judge, I'm very, very aware of that I'm living here right now. And this,
Right.
that sums me up pretty good right there. Any advice or words or what do you do with that? Like what do you do with that? It's like, okay, so I see I'm there. Now what? Do you just sit there until, or is this one of the things I should be meditating about, huh?
Well, do you feel you should meditate on that?
Probably, I'm pretty sure that I would get some answers if I did that.
Are you saying you feel like you're really in a place of your understanding you're a failure to meet up to your ideal?
No.
Is that where you're?
No. It's kind of like I think that my I am, right, is pushing me in a certain direction, but my limitations because of my personality defects
What personality defects?
well, call them whatever you want, they're in my way. I'm in my own way, right? And if I don't know how to get out of my way yet, I can get really frustrated and have all this irritation and dissatisfaction.
Right.
What I'm trying to do is live in acceptance, but I don't want to live so much in acceptance that I'm not still striving to push past that.
Yeah, well, all right, consider that if you accept those limitations, it doesn't mean you have to live with them. Accepting them defines them. You have a definition, you understand what they are, and that gives you the tool to circumvent, to get beyond those limitations. Once you recognize that you have a limitation, that doesn't mean that it's got to be an anchor on your butt and hold you back.
Yeah, but if you don't know, if you are constantly trying
See,
things,
don't use that word. Try. Don't use the word try. You know why?
but
No, but is an anatomical feature.
I don't like the word can't. For
No.
me, I can't do it. And then I realized, yeah, I can.
But
Well-
try does have a place because like let's
Yeah,
say
but
I'm
you know what try means? You know what try implies? Try implies your willingness to accept the probability of failure.
So what if I say I'm doing things, I'm doing different things, and if that doesn't work, I go to something else, and that doesn't work, and that doesn't work, and that doesn't work. So I keep doing other things.
Well,
And
that's called learning. What works for one person may not necessarily hold true for someone else. I mean, you know, we're all not walking the same identical paths. We're not facing the same identical challenges. We're our own individuals. We have our own past, life paths that we follow. And the challenges that we are presented with are those suitable to provide for us a learning opportunity to continue on that path.
so I should be at peace because I'm learning.
Yeah. Well, if you're, well, you can't learn if you're, you can't learn if your thoughts are chaotic. All right, it's just not going to happen. I mean, it's not like in school where you can take a buzz drink right before an exam and be sharp right there at the end. You know,
Yeah.
you have to work at it.
Oh, I found that to be true. Yes.
Well, see, that's why you're blessed with a long lifespan. Gives you plenty of time to work at it.
And that goes back to that acceptance thing.
Yeah.
Accept the fact that what you did or what you're learning or not learning happened, and then go on. Accept that and then go on.
It's just harder to be grateful for it when you're in the middle of it. Like I look back and be grateful for some things, but when you're in the middle of it and you're trying to
Try to say I accept it as. Use words. Think about what good words to use.
See, words have power, you know, and try, the word try is no different. And like I say, if you look at the expanded definition, it says, you know, I'm going to try to do this. What you're saying is, I'm going to give it a shot, and I'm probably going to fail, but that's okay, because I'm just going to try, you know.
I finally understood what the deal is with that. Because I'm like, words, schmerds, what does it matter? You know what I'm talking about. But every time I say that, I'm telling my subconscious that it's possibly not possible.
You're programming yourself.
Yeah.
There you go.
But I didn't get it. I didn't understand it until just now, kind of. If that makes any sense.
And see, and that's that's two basic parts of the mind, the subconscious and the conscious. The conscious mind questions everything. It functions on logic and reason. The subconscious mind doesn't reason anything out. It takes anything that gets into it as being 100% true, and it will do what it needs to do to manufacture or manifest that, whatever that thought is.
Which is all the more reason why we want to focus on positive stuff and not
Right.
waste our mental energies on things that aren't going to be constructive for us.
Right, are not going to be beneficial.
Beneficial, yes.
And in
Okay.
a world that's wrought with negativity, it takes a very concerted effort.
Yeah. And when you have bad habits of doing that, it's yeah.
Yeah, well, that goes back to know thyself, you know.
Yeah.
And that means facing everything, every aspect of yourself, and if there's a quality there that you don't like, well, you have the full power to change it. You just have to exercise the will to change it.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
So if you have the will to change your conscious mind, do you feel like that seeps through into your subconscious, or should you work on your subconscious first? Or
You
does it-
work on the conscious mind, because the subconscious receives its input from the conscious mind.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's what positive affirmations are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. See, because like I said, the subconscious mind doesn't care what you put into it. It's going, whatever you put there that's what it's going to work on. It doesn't question it, doesn't reason it, doesn't examine it or anything. It takes it as being 100% true, and you know that's what it's going to function on. It's going to work on that until it accomplishes its goal, and then it moves on. Or a stronger thought comes in to replace the one that's in there. So we all have the power to change the circumstances of things. We may not exactly get everything that we want, but we can make ourselves better individuals, you know, so that we can be of service to others if there are others who need some help. And that's a life of service. Okay? Moving on, and I may walk over the same thing again, you let me know. Your real self, the I am, which tries to direct your life and will, if you give it a chance, keeps calling you to higher things, to greater achievements, to a better place in life, to honor and power. But to such urges you may have been saying, I can't, it's all right for others, they can do it, I'd like to, but I can't. That silences the inner voice for the time being, but after a while, the call comes again, or there's another call along a different line, but is always forward, always advance, never retreat. Begin today to think differently regarding yourself, to think even reverently regarding the life that is wrapped up within you, that is trying to express in beauty and power. Learn to listen to the voice of guidance, and your progress on the path to self-unfoldment will be much more rapid. The I am in each individual possesses such strength and power that one need never feel weak or helpless. The difficulty is that we do not avail ourselves of this power which we possess, but instead insist on limiting our capacity to be and to accomplish. Whether we desire that to be so or not, others invariably put the same estimate upon us which we put upon ourselves. In every organization, in every community, there is a leader. They are the leader not necessarily because they have greater ability than all the others, but because they have a high regard for themselves. Confidence in one's own ability and feeling the way about it impresses others with his worth and is naturally accorded first place. And I might inject on a personal note, when I was in Nam, the 5 years I was there, I had people under my command and authority who left and came back a year or 2 years later and found out I was still in country and got assigned to my section. The reason? I would never have them do something that I wouldn't do first myself. I was confident in my ability to make good decisions and give good and proper orders, and I would never place my people in jeopardy. And they carried that with them, and they came back, they knew that I would be first looking out for them. That's why I never lost a man there. I was wounded, but that's okay. You know, I still carry some of that around, and sometimes it's difficult to go through an airport checkout, but because of the shrapnel. But they had confidence in my ability to make good, sound judgments. And as you develop that confidence in yourself, other people will see that. You know, and it's like, you know, right, wrong, or whatever, you make the best decision on the information you have available, and be confident that it's a good decision. And then people will trust you. They will trust your judgment. It can get a little awkward at first until you get used to it, and it, you know, but people will pick that up on you. Okay, continuing on. You cannot think too well of yourself, providing you think well of others also, and accord them the same courteous and respectful attention that you desire for yourself. We have in mind a boy who was one of a large family. His parents were intelligent people in moderate circumstances, but the father passed away while his child was about 12 years of age, making it necessary for the boy to leave school to help support the family. From boyhood, he seemed to realize his own great value, and although growing up without many educational advantages, became a leader in the community, life, and thought. When he walked down the streets of the little town in which he lived, he held his head high, threw back his shoulders, and every movement spoke of the high esteem in which he held himself. But with it all, he was scrupulously courteous to others, and that we have to remember. Which is why, between all of us here, I am the lesser of all of you all. He read and studied current events covering the political and economic views of the times, and did a great deal of thinking on his own account. This enabled him to mingle equally with men of ability and education, men much older than himself, and in the less cultured circles, His name was often quoted as authority on many subjects. People accepted without question the high estimate he placed upon himself, and while he was still a comparatively young man, he was elected to Congress as a representative from his district. He was returned to office a number of times. Many boys in that town had as much natural ability as he and more educational advantages, but they did not feel as he did about their own work, and people took them at their own valuation. Power comes from self-appreciation. You may have many talents and be capable of great achievements, but if you are too timid to try for the prize you would like to win, you will remain a failure. It is true that you are divine, that you can accomplish great things in life, that there is a specific work which you must do in order to fulfill your purpose on earth. This is true of everyone, regardless of whether they believe it or not. Then the next step is to come into the consciousness of this truth, and a very effective way to establish this consciousness is to speak the statement, I am powerful. Going over it many times. Go over it especially with some person or experience seems to be overpowering you, causing you to feel worthless. Refuse to let any person or situation dominate you, and if necessary, counteract such influence by the following exercise. Raise the right foot on the toe, then bring down your right fist and your right heel in an emphatic gesture, declaring with force, I am powerful. Then raise the left foot on the toe and bring down the left heel and the left fist with the same assertion, I am powerful. Then come down with both fists and both heels with the statement again, I am powerful. Now, if you are in public and cannot carry out the
I was just going to say. Are we supposed to be practicing this right now?
well, I will touch on that in just a second. If you're in public and cannot carry out the exercise in actual practice, do it mentally. That is the way, that works well. It is one of the strongest treatments for the purpose of raising one's estimate of themselves and strengthening one when passing through adverse conditions that would cause them to discredit his work. The average individual needs this exercise often. But we are told that society says you can't, and you have to buck society, but you can. Try to realize the truth of the statement, and after a little while you will find yourself beginning to feel your own importance. As you come into this consciousness, you will note that others begin to respect your opinion, and you will occupy a better position in your community. As taught in the preceding lesson, do not wait, but begin right now to practice this truth. I am powerful. And you can use creative visualization. You can close your eyes and envision feel the white light surrounding you, and you can just feel it, and as you feel it, you just put into that, I am powerful. And that will be in your energy field, your auric energy field, and people who will come into contact with that auric energy field will feel your self-confidence. And because of that, they will have confidence in you. I found that to be very true and very effective. The great leaders are not those who have done great things, but they are the ones who have inspired others to do great things. I mean, you look at Patton, he was a short guy, loud mouth, big voice, but short in stature, but people under his command did great things. Made fantastic accomplishments in the war. Finally, continue with the statements which close the fourth lesson. I am peaceful. I have the power to think. I am in quiet meditation. I am contacting my good now with the addition of I am powerful. It's recommended you read the lesson over for 7 days and practice your exercise in the silence to realize the truth of your meditative thoughts. I am peaceful. I have the power to think. I am in quiet meditation. I am contacting my good now. I am powerful.
That's a powerful statement.
Yeah.
And people will sense that in you.
That was a good check.
Yeah.
Yeah. And good question. So comments and questions?
I like the way one lesson takes over where the other stops it.
This is a-
Continues a continuous flow.
This is a building process. And that's why there are 30 lessons. By the end of the last lesson, I don't expect you to move Schweitzer, but at least have an influence on whether the snow comes.
They're down to earth, easy to read.
Yeah, they are very concise.
That's why I like this course. I took it myself, I won't say when. It's been a couple of years, several times over. But I've always thought that it was a very good basic course in metaphysics. There's no strange philosophy involved with it. There's no...
Have a dictionary next to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Jumps, something, it makes sense.
Whether it isn't 100-year-old, it's
And I try to make it understandable, and I welcome all your thoughts and your conversations and your questions and comments, because I'm first here to admit I don't know it all. I know what I know, but I don't know it all. Because as somebody once said, if I knew it all, I sure as I wouldn't be here. There are other worlds to be.
That's more desirable.
Yeah, other universes, other experiences. And like I say, I'm here to be of service to you.
I have a question for everybody. How is everybody doing with their meditations on these statements? How's everybody doing with the meditations on these statements?
I'm as good as I should be.
Yeah.
about me too, I was just thinking.
Is anybody having any experiences with it?
Well, the thing of it is that what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for somebody else. Doing an hour a day works for some people, doesn't necessarily work for everyone. Whatever you do, what's comfortable for you. That's the key thing. What you're comfortable with doing. You are the governors of that, you know. And I mean, there was a time when I could sit down and probably do 30 or 40 seconds worth of meditation. But I've got to the point where I try to make everything, I endeavor to make everything a meditation.
Mostly that's the experience I'm getting is, first of all, it's reminding me to get back to meditating. So I'm spending more time, I'm making it more of a priority. And then that in turn has caused my thinking to slow down, and it brings like a more groundedness into my life.
Yeah.
Plus an appreciation for, things like I'm more present, so I notice the birds more, and I notice the, stuff like that.
I know my dreams have been getting more vivid. And one of my goals has always been lucid dreaming and controlling dreams. I mean, I've been working on that for 17 years or
What's
something.
lucid again?
Lucid is where you have your senses with you.
Okay.
Taste,
So
touch,
it's kind
smell.
of like you're walking around and awake.
It's, yeah. And they said there's 2 tests to know if you're in a lucid dream. One, try to go up to a light switch and hit it. And if you can turn on and off the power, then you're lucid dreaming.
Okay.
And then the other one is sense the light. If it's natural light, if you're inside, see if there's lights on, or if you can see the sun, or a lack of, like a moon, if it's
What if you
nighttime.
pinch yourself and you feel it?
You could do that too. But I mean, that might, these are less painful. But then they
You don't have to
say,
pinch hard.
once you realize that, you can then, go wherever you want to go and do whatever you want to do. And you're so lucid in the moment that you have a, tremendous awareness of it. And I'm just constantly trying to work on that and get better with it. and I'm haven't come very far, and I don't know why, but that's one of my big goals.
Yeah, well, you know, of course, in the realm between the physical world and lucid dreaming, you know, the second is so desirable that the first becomes deplorable.
Yeah. I've had lucid dreams. I've had very, very lucid dreams, and they've always come true. One was horrifying to me, which you know, I had this dream. I was with this guy stuck in this shop area, and we heard these footsteps coming, and I knew it was a serial killer coming. And I remember the guy, I remember what we were wearing, I remember the sensations of being in the grease and the dirt and the smell of it, and the fear. I remember sweating fear, and I remember the thought that I'm not going to go down easy. I'm going to fight. He's just not going to kill me. I mean, I'm going to go after him. And I told this guy, I said, you know, we need a plan. And him and I worked out this plan of how we were going to, he was going to walk in and walk towards me, and this other guy was going to grab him from behind. And he did that. And they scuffled, and I got the gun. And I remember in a blink of an eye, I shot him. Just like I didn't hesitate. And I remember that sensation of his blood, and I'm sorry if this is very graphic, but his brains and everything fall, you know, just going all over me. And I remember the sensation of all that and the blood running down, and I just remember that the whole thing and the fear and all that. And I woke up, and it took me like 3 days. 3 days to get the like the fear, the residual, because I kept feeling like I was still in that situation.
It was like a real memory, right?
Yeah, it was like it was so
It's like
vivid.
you're still recovering from a real.
Yeah, trauma. It was a trauma.
Do you think it was something that happened in the past or could happen?
You know, I don't know. I don't know if I was like taking the place of somebody, like who was really in that situation.
Oh,
But
Yeah.
yeah, just kind of giving somebody a break, or stepping in when they needed it, or because I would fight. I have no doubt that I would go after him with nails and teeth and whatever I had, and just wouldn't go down easy. I know that's how I would do it. But it just felt like me. And I don't know if that's, you know, that's the only lucid dream I've ever had that hasn't came true so far. That was a bad one. I don't even know why, you know, because I wanted to fly and be in the clouds and all this fun stuff. And a lot of times my lucid dreams are very intense, hardcore stuff. So,
Yeah, I had a creepy one similar to that,
did you?
about shots. They had the old gun, the flu shotgun that they used way back.
Oh, yeah.
And they had people lined up and they were giving them shots. And they told them that it was supposed to improve their energy and all that type of thing. And they got the younger population, and then they told the older population that it was going to prevent diseases and boost their immune system. So they got most of the older population, and then they were getting ready to do pregnant women. But I woke up when they were I was trying to fight off these people, and they were trying to give me that shot.
You know, the pneumatic gun.
Yeah, the one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they put it right, it looked
Yeah.
like a gun, an actual
Yeah.
pistol. They
Yeah.
put it right up to your arm.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah. Sort of like the shots that, well, back in the 60s when you joined the Army, they had them all, there was a hallway, and they had doorways, and there was a guy standing in each doorway with a gun. And you walk down there, you just rolled your sleeves up, and you walk down there, and it was pow, 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 pow. You know, after, you know, by the time you got to the end of the hallway, that was it. I mean, there was a whole series. You got shots with things you didn't even know existed.
Yeah, there was like in this thing, I found out there was a tracking device and a mind control device.
Hmm.
For a minute.
Well, you know, they've got it now.
So that's why you were fighting it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, see, that's, you know, they can put a little micro transmitter right up under your skin.
Oh, they can actually?
Oh, yes, ma'am, they certainly can.
Oh, wow.
And it's probably, you know, it's so small, it's hardly noticeable.
Well, they do it for your pets.
Yeah, I was just gonna
Yeah.
say, they do it
Mhm.
with pets all the time.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
And they can do it, they can do it with people.
That's probably why they learned it, so they can do it.
Yeah, well, there's some,
They tested it.
there's some that, they say they use it in the criminal justice system, to track, parolees and whatnot. Put it under your skin, they can spot you, find you anywhere. It's like now, and not to make you paranoid, but they can find you wherever you are through your cell phone.
Oh, yeah.
They wouldn't find anything in my.
Yeah, they say they'd be so bored that,
I never
No,
can.
I don't really care. People are up in arms about them listening. I have nothing to hide.
I know, I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
I talk to
Go
him.
go ahead and watch me through my computer,
My
you're just gonna see
daughter
me
and-
picking my nose.
My cousin, So, I'm gonna go, because I'm gonna go to the library.
Yeah, yeah.
okay,
Great.
we'll see.